Imagine going shark cage diving and thinking the worst you will face is a fin cutting the surface. What if the real predator is human? That is the nightmare at the heart of Dangerous Animals 2025. Welcome to Movie Recaps Hub podcast. Today I am taking you through a full spoiler recap of Dangerous Animals 2025. If you have not seen it and do not want spoilers, this is your warning. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and let us dive in. In Australia, tourists Greg and Heather arrive at a pier excited for a cage diving tour and up-close encounter with sharks. A vendor named Dave tries to warn them. He says a shark ate a college kid's groin on the last trip. Greg and Heather brush it off. Then Tucker, the tour guide, shows up. He quizzes the pair, teases them that nobody knows they're here, and they climb aboard his boat. During the ride, Tucker tells creepy stories about near-death experiences with sharks, how he swum with them since childhood, and even carries a big scar as proof. They reach the dive spot. Tucker chums the water. Heather panics when a fin slices the surface. She decides not to go in. Tucker tries to calm her with a guided meditation, and then, unexpectedly, starts singing the Baby Shark song. It's absurd, tense, and oddly disarming. Heather laughs. She relaxes. They get in the cage. Titans of the deep surround them, and Heather freezes at the teeth. Greg holds her, and they end up admiring the animals. Back on the boat, Heather is exhilarated, until Tucker suddenly pulls a knife, stabs Greg, and throws him into the ocean as Heather screams. The daylight tourist trip turns into slaughter. Cut to the next day, American surfer Zephyr is surfing, loving the waves. Later, at a grocery store, she's caught stealing an ice cream tub inside a Slurpee cup. Moses, another local surfer, sees her but doesn't immediately rat her out. He persuades her to give him a ride and, in the van, talk turns to surfing. They bond, share music, and that night they get intimate in Zephyr's van. As a prank, Moses tosses Zephyr's fin key out the window. He goes inside to make breakfast. When he returns, the van is gone. Zephyr heads to surf and realizes she forgot her key. She searches a truck and is startled. The owner is Tucker. He gives her his spare key and praises her for surfing alone at night. After he leaves, Zephyr gets a text from Moses asking why she left. Before she can answer, Tucker hits her from behind, covers her head with a bag, injects her, tapes her mouth, and hides her in a surfboard case. He drives to the pier where Dave's dog growls at him. He carries Zephyr to his boat and locks her up. Hours later, Moses searches for Zephyr and finds only an abandoned van. He calls her phone, but it's still in the vehicle. On the boat, Zephyr wakes handcuffed to a bed beside Heather. There's only a bucket for their needs. She yells. Tucker eats breakfast and seems to enjoy hearing her. On the wall is a name, another woman, hinting this isn't his first time. Zephyr looks for anything to pick her cuffs but finds nothing. Heather admits nobody is coming. She regrets taking a gap year. Says she'll never see her mother again. Zephyr reveals a rough past, foster homes and juvenile detention, escape to Australia. To ease tension, Zephyr tells a joke and Heather laughs briefly. Zephyr spots Heather's bikini top and asks for the underwire to try picking the lock. Heather tosses the top. Zephyr tries the wire but feels woozy. Tucker brings food and sits disturbingly close. He even tastes Zephyr's sweat before leaving. The water must be drugged. Heather passes out. Then Zephyr follows. Tucker takes the underwire and the two go out cold. Zephyr wakes next to the deck. Tucker has rigged cameras and lights. Heather is tied to a crane chain. Tucker waxes poetic about sharks. God isn't in heaven. He's down there in the sea. He says Zephyr looked alive when he'd seen her surf. Almost spiritual. And that's what his hobby feeds. He cuts some of Heather's hair, wakes her in panic, and lowers her on the crane with half her body still out, so he can capture her face as sharks swarm. Heather screams as devoured and Zephyr watches in horror. Tucker calls it the best show on earth and rolls tape to label Heather's box with her name and a lock of hair. Later, Zephyr scrapes a spot of fresh paint off the wall and finds dozens of names beneath Tucker's victims cataloged. Deep in the sea, Heather's body floats away. Moses, worried, surfs but finds a broken surfboard near rocks and fears the worst. Back on the boat, Tucker tries to justify himself. Sharks are part of the ecosystem and deserve to eat. Zephyr mocks him, calls him a worm, not a predator, and he storms off wounded in pride. Zephyr notices a bucket with a handle and pries it free. At night, Tucker mixes a sedative and returns with a syringe. Zephyr stabs him in the neck with the bucket handle. He falls, hits his head, and she grabs his keys. For a moment she can free herself. Tucker regains consciousness, a fight follows. Zephyr stabs his leg, runs for the door, but he injects her and knocks her out before she can get help. She makes a desperate run to the deck and yells at a nearby cruise ship, but loud music drowns her out. Tucker appears with a knife. Zephyr throws the camera into the water to distract him, leaps overboard, and tries to swim away. The sedative hits and she blacks out. Tucker fishes her out and returns her to the boat. The next day a police search is underway. Moses, watching from shore, uses an app called Wave Watch, a live beach feed for surfers. He scrubs last night's footage and sees a truck driving away with Zephyr's van. The truck has a logo, Tucker Experience. He finds the company online, gets a phone number and calls. But Tucker isn't there to answer. Tucker, meanwhile, buys a new camera at the supermarket and fantasizes about his next victim while stuck in traffic. Moses drives to the pier, pounds on the boat, and hears a faint voice below. He breaks a window, searches with a hook, and finds Zephyr. He removes her tape. She tells him to call the police and looks for anything to pick the cuffs. Moses rushes upstairs calling 911, but Tucker knocks him down, fights back, and stabs Moses with a hook. A scuffle follows. Dave appears and thinks Moses is an intruder. He knocks Moses out. When Dave follows a sound to the girl's room, Tucker kills him with the hook. The dog barks. Tucker scares it off, locks the door, and sails to an island called Hangman Skulls. Moses wakes handcuffed beside Zephyr and asks why she ran after they got close. Zephyr lies it was the waves. Moses sees through her and tells her he knows she's afraid of commitment because she hates herself. He says he likes her as she is. The boat stops. Tucker knocks Moses out again. Later, Moses is tied on deck next to Dave's body as Zephyr hangs over the water. Tucker taunts them and starts lowering Moses toward the sharks. Zephyr begs, offers herself instead, but Tucker is cruel. Moses freezes, perhaps out of terror, perhaps shock, and the sharks temporarily lose interest and swim away. Tucker gets furious, stabs Moses, and moves him again. The blood draws the sharks back. As a search helicopter appears, Tucker puts the pair back in their room. Desperate, Zephyr dislocates her thumb to try slipping out of her handcuffs. It's painful and not enough. She chews it, trying to free herself. That night, Tucker prepares sedatives and returns. Zephyr's bed is empty, but her thumb lies on the pillow. She used that distraction. She locks the door and runs to the control room, starting the boat. Tucker opens an emergency hatch to escape and manages to cut the power, stopping the boat again. Zephyr spots a party on a nearby island and hunts for a flare. Tucker chases. She fires a flare at him, locks herself in the kitchen, climbs the counter and smashes the skylight. Her harness catches. Tucker pulls her back. They slip, and Zephyr grabs a frying pan while Tucker grabs a knife. She stabs his hand, hits him with the pan, and flees. Tucker flips on a deck light and chases her by speedboat. Zephyr reaches the island shore, but Tucker finds her, knocks her out, and takes her back. Back on the boat, Zephyr is suspended above the sea while Tucker lectures about fish that fight back when caught. He lowers her. A shark approaches. Zephyr kicks and the shark backs off. Tucker pokes the shark with his hook. It takes the hook and swims away. Zephyr seizes an opening, steals the hook, and climbs the crane. The shark returns under her. Tucker startles her. She falls into the water. The shark approaches, but instead of killing her, it hesitates, almost sympathetic. Tucker heard it earlier. The creature swims off. Zephyr climbs aboard, sneaks below deck, and finds Tucker's harpoon. She uses it, shoots Tucker, sending him into the water, right into the path of the huge shark, which leaps and devours him. The camera records the final act. The harpoon rope drags Zephyr down too, but she releases it and swims back up. She grabs another flare, fires it into the sky, and yells for help. A ship nearby sounds its horn and heads over. Zephyr checks on Moses, unconscious, and begs him to wake because he's all she's got. He opens his eyes and says simply, "I knew it." That is the full recap of Dangerous Animals 2025. If you liked this breakdown from Movie Recaps Hub podcast, please like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more recaps and movie deep dives. Turn on notifications so you do not miss the next episode. Thanks for listening.